Hello everybody, this is Stephen Whitfield, a drilling contractor, here at the Nabors booth at the 2024 IADC SPE International Drilling Conference and Exhibition in Galveston, Texas. Now, here at this booth, Nabors and Independence Contract Drilling discussed a collaboration between the two companies in which Nabors installed its own technologies on ICD rigs in East and West Texas. The two companies presented a couple of case studies, and we spoke with Brandon Rosler and John Alvarado of Nabors and Scott Keller of ICD about those case studies and about the partnership between the two companies, the challenges and opportunities that presents, and what this might mean moving forward. So, Brandon, let's start by just sort of talking about what these systems are that Nabors installed on the ICD rigs. I mean, maybe for some of the more astute readers, they might already know what some of these are, but for those who don't, tell us about sort of the SmartDrill and the Revit V-Torq systems.
Yeah, for sure. So we deployed two different technologies, as you mentioned, onto several different ICD rigs. The first one is SmartDrill, which is our automated drilling sequencer software. So basically what that does is it fully optimizes the connection process, providing a consistency of execution across the board. For Revit V-Torq is our stick slip mitigation software. Essentially, it's tied to the top drive, and as stick slip is encountered in the well, it's going to reduce and increase the RPMs to ensure that the stick slip or the vibrations work its way out of the drill string, which prevents damage to your drill bits, your mud motors, RSSs, shock of the MWD, and so on and so forth.
So here at this booth earlier today, we had a couple of case studies presented about some stuff that you guys did in West and East Texas. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened there? What did you guys see?
Yeah, for sure. So earlier last year, we deployed SmartDrill onto one of ICD's rigs over in West Texas. And essentially at that time, they were encountering weight-to-weight connection times of a little bit over 6 minutes. So we thought, hey, we can deploy automation and really improve performance. So we went in right off the get-go. We had lower than desired utilization, but that's fairly normal when you deploy a new technology. But essentially for the first well, we had about 38% SmartDrill utilization. That reduced the connection time from over 6 minutes down to about 5.5. On the following well, we had a SmartDrill utilization of approximately 50 to 60%, and we saw again a reduction in the weight-to-weight connection time. I believe they were just above 4 minutes. And then on the final third well, we actually achieved 90+% utilization of SmartDrill, and from there we actually achieved sub 4 minute connections weight-to-weight. So for us, it was a huge win. It proved that our technology can not only be deployed on a Nabors rig, but also a third-party rig and have the same success that we've had on the Nabors side.
So we just talked about the SmartDrill case study. What about Revit V-Torq? What happened there?
Yeah, so for V-Torq, there was a rig that ICD had over in East Texas that was using Rig Cloud. We noticed that they had an unplanned trip out of the hole in the intermediate section. We took a look and realized that there was a significant amount of stick slip. After speaking with ICD and their operator, they told us that that was kind of the norm for that area for where they were drilling. They were going through typically one mud motor and 2 to 3 bits per section. We took a look at some offset well data. We identified that they were reducing their drilling parameters to basically tackle stick slip that was encountered in the well. But by doing that, essentially they're sacrificing their rate of penetration, right? But again, they also had to trip out of the well. That comes at a high cost to the company as well. So we went in there and we said, hey, let's do a performance-based trial with Revit V-Torq. Essentially, it was a trial in that if we perform, then we get paid. If we don't, then we don't, right? So we went in there, we provided trainers on site on the rig to make sure that the drillers were fully aware of how to run the system. And with that, we set a record run spud to intermediate for that operator. And we actually broke that record on the following well on the same pad. So that was a huge win for ICD. We had basically a reduction in vibrations or stick slip of approximately 62%. And also the total days was reduced by 42%. So ultimately, ICD ended up getting a contract extension. So that's a huge win for them, but also us. Again, that shows that we can deploy our technology not only on our rigs, but on third-party rigs as well.
So, John, let's talk a little bit about the conversations with the operators, because they're a stakeholder too in this whole
the biggest stakeholder.
Yeah, in this process. So, what are those conversations like when you're asking them to sort of go with you guys on this and to put these systems on the rigs that are going to be used in their wells?
Well, generally, when you talk to the operator, there's a certain level of acceptance already as they want to look at improving efficiency of the drilling operation, right? So when we go talk about automation, we already have kind of a starting point where the operator wants to see a step change in improvement. So when we talk about our products, our smart products, either they've used them before on a Nabors rig or they've seen them on another third-party rig. So it's usually them pulling us in to that conversation, and then when we get to the actual value proposition, it's the delivery, like you saw on the presentation, the KPIs, how we're cutting the connection times, how we're reducing the trips, going from multi-run wells to single run laterals, things like that. That's really where you're seeing large savings for the operator when they don't have to have multiple runs in the same section by using the automated products.
Let me ask a little bit about the value proposition from Nabors' perspective from a collaboration like this. Now, you guys collaborate with a lot.
Yes.
And if you've seen some of our videos, you would see that they've collaborated on several things. But this is collaborating with a drilling contractor. And so this is something that we don't always see all the time. So from Nabors' perspective, what's the value there?
Well, if you look at it from our perspective, we've invested heavily into our automation for our own rigs, right? So, we have a set fleet we have today, and in order to recover that ROI, we look to third party now to offer that same technology to help our drilling contractor partners to deliver the same type of automation, because we're not going to win every drilling contract. So if we're not going to win every drilling contract, at least we have the opportunity to help those drilling contractors with our technology and help them improve their efficiency as well. So we have our products working, and of course that gives us an ROI on that investment.
So we've got the Nabors perspective here. Now let's get the ICD perspective. I asked about value proposition from their perspective, but I want to hear from an ICD perspective, what's the value of this type of collaboration with a fellow drilling contractor?
Sure. So I think from ICD's perspective, it's more of the cash outlay that they have. Nabors has spent millions of dollars in R&D. They have tons of engineers, people like Brandon and John on their staff that do nothing but force technology, how to reduce all these cycle times, et cetera. For us to be able to take our smaller style, more boutique contractor and apply the same technology that our big three competitors have with our balance sheet is huge for us. So we're able to drive additional revenue to our bottom line through the products. We're able to give our client what they want in terms of technology, and it's a win-win for both of us.
How do you enable the sort of buy-in that you need, not just from the client perspective, but from the rig crew perspective, to sort of take on this type of adoption? Because this is not just it's not just some simple thing here. You guys have to get the buy-in.
And I think that's true of all the technologies and the apps that we're seeing right now. And you're right, our rig crews have been doing this forever. They're roughnecks. They do this every day, all day. They take pride in what they do. And then they love being the best. They love being faster than the machine. And we took a little bit different approach when we were deploying this technology. So we put a few things in place to incentivize them to give it a fair shot, utilize the equipment, make sure it works. And by about the end of the second pad, they are bought in. They realize that when SmartDrill is utilized, it's faster than when the rig crew is doing it themselves manually. So that's been a huge buy-in. We've also, like I said, given them a little bit of incentive to do that, to try to get them to do so. So that's been part of it. And then for the operator, I think was the second part of your question there. They're all a little different. So in this Nabors suite that we sell here, there's 4 or 5 different products. Some of them are very deep in their product life cycle. They're proven. They know what it is. They might push back on paying for it because that's what they do, but they do. They go ahead and pay for it. That's kind of your oscillators, your rockets, and a little bit this SmartDrill that we're running for in the first case study. That is kind of somewhere in the middle where they still need a little bit of push. And Nabors and our philosophy on that is we go with a trial-based performance proposal. We try it for a well, we try it for a pad, something like that, get them comfortable. Once they see the results, they will then go back in retrospect or in rears and pay us. And if it's unsuccessful, then we take it off, and no harm, no foul. So it's kind of risk-free to our operator to try most of these products. None of them are going to do anything that provides negative value, so it's all upside for them.
Special thanks to John, Brandon, and Scott for speaking with us here today from the Nabors booth from the 2024 IADC SPE International Drilling Conference and Exhibition in Galveston. This is Stephen Whitfield. Thank you for watching Drilling Contractor.